Good evening. We are Colt AR-15 Resources. Is that you, Brett, or is that you, Alex? Cypress. Rhode Island. You know, my nephew plays football for Rhode Island State. He's a punter. Yeah, New York was interesting. I'll tell you that. Got some good things. Hey, Brent. PA. Sure. Tennessee. Ooh, wildfires. Yeah, my nephew, he's done really, really well there. He made history there for as far as kicks.
He said, Brent, wrong account. Be right back.
Brian, I just got an interesting AR-15A2 Sporter 2 carbine that is brand new unfired. But when you look at the bottom of it, right behind the trigger, there's a little set screw that was put in there. But talking with Alex, we're trying to figure out, who did it. But considering the gun is brand new, unfired, it looks like it may have come out of Colt that way. It looked like potentially what it was for was to set the travel of the trigger. Um, and I talked to Art over Colt, and he said that could have been one of the guys who was doing some work during the Colt Cup back in the day. For a better trigger, having that little set there is really interesting. I'll have to send you some pictures.
And Brent is back.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I've never seen anything like it. But as I said, when you're around Colt, you that battle shop, there's all kinds of things that were experimented with.
Okay, guys, we're going to get started. It's been almost a month now. Chris is back from New York. If you would like to donate tonight, you can do so by clicking the $sign and activating the super chat function. And your question will be bumped to the top. Our preferred method is donor box, and I'm going to plug the link in here into the chat. Nope, that's not the right link. Let me go back and grab it. It's been a while. Bear with me. Um, donor box is our preferred method because Google takes 30% of your donations, and donor box only takes less than 5. And it works the same. You can actually find that link on smallarmsolutions.com as well as the link in here, and put your question in the comment section, and I'll get an email, and you'll get priority over all the questions coming in. We don't just take paid questions, but your donations do help us keep our channel up and going, and it is much appreciated. So um, earlier today, I got a donation from William and Sean. Thank you both on DonorBox. There was no questions attached. If you forgot to do that, just email them to me separately at hbartachi@smallarmsolutions.com, and I will read them out to you. Otherwise, we're going to get in there.
Well, I want to tell you something that happened to me in New York. It was rather interesting. A friend of mine and my brother wanted to go shooting while we were in Rochester. So the three of us went to one of the local indoor ranges. I wasn't allowed to shoot because I didn't have a New York State pistol permit. Now, since one of them was a cop and one of them, my brother had a pistol permit, they were allowed to go in and shoot. So I got to watch them shoot. And even more strange was the guy who owned the range was one of the guys who who I think he did some training with me as an armorer, or he worked with the guys who were armorers who went to my school. So yeah, I could even shoot while I was in New York. So that was interesting. So I had a New York shooting experience. I went out with one of my buddies on his land, and we shot air guns. First time I've shot an air gun since I was 15 years old, which I'm sure those will become a public pandemic as assault air guns, and those will be ready to be banned next. So that was very interesting. And I also noticed ammunition there. I have more ammunition on one of my shelves behind me than any of the gun shops that I saw there. Uh, Unbelievable.
Yes, Chris's beard is back.
Yes, and that was by, I don't want to say popular demand, but by demand.
Whatever you want to call it. Howdy from Fort Worth. We're actually leaving for Fort Worth tomorrow. Our daughter has a cheer competition there, so we're heading that way. I haven't been to Fort Worth in years. He wants to hit up Billy Bob's. That's his ultimate goal.
And he let me wear my hat or a Western shirt.
Okay, this is not marriage therapy Q&A. Let's see. What do you think of 300 AAC?
I love it. 300 blackout, 300 whisper. I absolutely love it. Oddly enough, I use it in an SBR, and I pretty much only shoot subsonic ammunition. That's really where I enjoy using it. But for anybody who wants to do any hunting, up to deer, that 300 AC blackout is a perfect cartridge for that.
Did you see that Sig 320 to 380 ACP yet? I just got one and have it
I have one
for my
right next to
wife.
me. I have one right next to me on that table over there. I just picked it up on Tuesday. Tuesday? On Tuesday. So hopefully be going out to the range on Monday. I got like 6 or 8 guns and 3 suppressors on Tuesday. I also got the brand new Sig P322, the new 22 long rifle from Sig.
Hey, Adnan.
Hey, Adnan.
Aaron says everyone needs a cowboy hat. He does have a cowboy hat.
Just can't wear it.
Oh my gosh. And he has boots and actually just had them resold for him. So he is going to be living his Western fantasies.
Just with the boots.
We're not trying to recreate Urban Cowboy.
No, certainly. She wanted to make him look like a cowboy. Me, she wants me to look as little as a cowboy. She just get from me that bone for the boots.
Are you interested in the 22 LR Sig pistol?
Yes, very much so. I got one, as I said, and also it's probably going to be a month or two until Brandon can get off. We're going to be doing a comparison between the G44 and the P322, trying with different kinds of ammunition. We're going to see which one is mechanically best.
I just replaced my my gas block on the Daniel Defense Mark 12 with a low profile that allows me to take off the handguard. Any issues I should look out for? Gas leaking.
Make sure that you have your gas block centered, so it's getting gas. And I would probably recommend you do a little dog nose dimple in the barrel, so that it will not come loose.
Are you attending NRA convention this year?
Absolutely. This time, yes.
Recently bought a new commercial M9 and noticed the word quote stainless on the blue barrel. Are there or were there any of the military issue M9s equipped with these?
Absolutely not. That couldn't be delivered to the military. The military has to have the chrome plated barrel. So my guess is they had some spare barrels laying around that were stainless steel, and they just put the Bernatine finish on them and sold them that way.
Is the 4.6 versus 5.7 pretty much mute?
Well, comparing the two of them, obviously the 5.7 is a much better round in every way than the 4.6. Or I'm sorry, the 4.6. There's a hell of a lot more 5.7 guns out there than there are the 4.6. The 4.6 to me is just way too small for any real purpose. The 5.7 is marginal, but at least has the velocity and at least has more mass to it. To my knowledge, the only company who's made one outside of HK is CMMG with their new Banshee, and I'm not sure who's making the ammo for it, but there's got somebody making ammo for it.
And I want to touch on the issue that we had with the video this weekend. We did a lot of filming for Chris's trip, and one of the videos that went up for Saturday had some issues with audio. That video will be fixed, and it will be moved probably into the next week. sometimes just weird stuff happens with compression. It had the wrong audio match to it, which is not anything that I did. It
It's not because
just,
I reviewed it. When I reviewed it, everything was,
yeah,
was proper.
it's just weird in the whole compression, process when it, uploads and everything. It's apparently had its moment. So
I reviewed these before she does that,
we
and it was
review them
perfect.
multiple times. It's kind of funny that happened, but
So who the hell knows?
yeah, it'll be fixed and y'all will get that. I know people were asking if we will see that video put back up, and you will. That's why, just for the sake of making sure you had a video, I privated that video and threw up another one that I had ready to go. So we'll get that fixed and out. Let's see. Since you'll be in DFW, which, because you're from up north, that means Dallas Fort Worth. Are you familiar with Evolve weapon system? Do you have any thoughts?
I have one right down there. I just spoke to Mr. Tar over there, and he just got me one, and that's another one that I just picked up on Tuesday. So you'll be getting a video on that, and I will tell you initially, looks pretty damn good. This is solid. There's no movement. It's as smooth as can be. Um, Again, not with firing it yet. The thing looks very very well made.
Do you know who is manufacturing the cold hammer forged barrels for Centurion?
Well, they were for a while. He was using FN, but he had problems with them because he's a small company, and he was never on the top of their list. So he would have to wait longer and longer. I'm not sure who's making them now, but for the longest time, I know he used FN
Thank you, Brian. Why are Noveski barrels so expensive?
because they're Noveski. Very quite simple because they got the Noveski name on them. Just like if you were to buy something at Knight's Armament, your firstborn is going to leave for that barrel from Knight's Armament if you can get one.
We have a question on Donor Box. I'm sorry, I'm probably going to completely butcher your names. I think it's Ayisa. Thank you so much. I want to build an Arrow M5 upper 16-inch. Can I use a Dictator gas block or any other? Any suggestions? I need a gunsmith to pin into.
You certainly can. There's a better option than Dictator. It's made by Odin Rifle Works. I think it's a better one. It's doesn't have as many settings as I guess as that one does. I have a rifle over here, which I have an Odin on. It's actually a 5.56. They make them in all different sizes. Quite frankly, you certainly could. You just got to make sure you have the right diameter for that. I'm not sure. I think they do make both. But you certainly can as long as you have the proper barrel diameter for it. But I would really be looking more closely at the Odin than I would that one.
Where do you see the Soviet caliber ammunition market going with all the um, geopolitical turmoil? Do you see PSA's operation becoming sufficient to meet demand? AK world is tense.
Well, 545 is the one that I'm most concerned with, period, because there's nobody here other than Hornady who's making it. It's brass case. Now, for as far as the 760 by 39, um, I don't know who's going to come into that to get ammunition cheap. You will always be able to find it because all the major manufacturers make it, but you're looking at quadrupling probably the price per round, if not at least doubling the price per round using brass cased higher quality ammunition. We were sort of fortunate once they banned the Chinese ammunition that came in. Russia was there to pick up where the Chinese ammunition left off for inexpensive ammunition. And it's going to be difficult. This one company who I just tested their ammunition, this KB Armory, where they have the Indian ammunition from. He's talking about bringing in some 760 by 39 from Yugoslavia, which is going to be less expensive, but again, it's still going to be brass cased. Um, Talking to the guy over at Palmetto State Armory, they are not making steel cased ammunition over here. I don't know where this rumor had come from. Uh, I don't see anybody ever making steel cased ammunition here. That's outdated technology. It's expensive to gear up for. The cost that it would be to pay off that machinery and everything, it would be it would be just as expensive as brass case until they got those machines paid off. It doesn't make any sense. But you can pretty much bet you're not going to see anything American made that's going to be that cost. It's not going to happen.
Do you think that if Eugene Stoner had developed the Stoner 63 system instead of the AR-15 system, would the U.S. military adopted it, and would a version of it still be in the use today?
The Sonar 63 did not perform nearly as well for the U.S. government when they tested it. It was used very limited by the SEALs. It was finicky. It did have reliability issues. Um, as interesting as it was for as far as the way everything converted over and you could swap it around conversion, into different configurations and such, it was never a finalized or a durable weapons platform. So unless they would have adopted it and done a thorough, you know, re-engineering of it to correct those problems, I don't think it would have done very well at all. Again, it was used in very limited numbers, and it was never known for being an extremely reliable weapons platform.
Michael says he appreciates the ammo video this week. It was a very interesting recommendation regarding budget quality 5.56. Well, I can tell you that we definitely had an argument about that video when we were filming it, because we don't do sponsored videos. And for me, it felt like a sponsored video. And so hopefully I made that clear that it's not sponsored in any way. They did not cut us a check for it.
No,
They are a new company, and that Chris thought it was interesting, that it would fill a void in the ammo shortages that are needed. Um,
that's why it interested me is because you're trying to look at, again, we're talking about the Russian ammunition that's disappearing. You're not going to find anything as cheap as that steel cased ammunition. You're not. But you also have to look at the cost of the American made ammunition and quality. That Indian ammunition was probably about 20% more versus damn near 60% more, or 60 cents more around. I'm sorry, what the hell was it? It was like 35 cents around for the Russian. I think you were around 45, 50 cents for the Indian, then around 70 cents around up plus for American. It sort of would fill in the gap somewhat in the middle between the American ammunition and the Russian ammunition, and it was really good quality ammunition. So we're trying to find options for people who want to shoot, and they want to get inexpensive ammunition. This was one of the ones that I had found that you're getting a damn good round for not a lot of money, for less money than you would American.
the Omega 9K, will it be best on a 9mm handgun? Which one? Or a 300 blackout rifle?
Both. I have an Omega 9. If you use subsonic, you can use the Omega 9 for a 300 blackout, but not supersonic. Um, I use it on a handgun. I don't really use it on. I don't use it on the rifle. I have like four or five other ones that I use on rifle, but you certainly could. Speaking of suppressors, I just picked up 3 suppressors on Wednesday. Also, you're gonna start seeing some other suppressors. I've been using Silencer Co. solely. People have been saying, what about this? What about that? Well, I picked up a Radical Firearms. They have one. They had one I just got, which looks very nice. It's 3D printed, and I got a LMT Advanced Technologies, which is supposed to lower the pressures in there. And then I also got a USS, or I'm sorry, OSS one as well. So we're going to be seeing some different different suppressors as well in the upcoming videos.
Question about the Beretta M922LR. It's sold as a Beretta, but it says made in Germany by a different company. Do you know the reason for this?
It's the same company who made the Mosquito and several other ones. GSG Sports, I think that it is. Yeah, that's not something that Beretta makes in house. No, like just like Sig, the P322 is the first one they made in house. Those of you who are familiar with the Mosquito that was put out by Sig, that was a complete nightmare. That was GSG. In fact, you can get the GSG version of it, from American Tactical. They had problems with it, and Sig had a problem putting it on, putting their name on it because it wasn't Sig quality. So the 322, on the other hand, was engineered and developed by Sig, and hopefully that's going to be a much better gun.
Yes, please click the like button, guys. That helps out the channel and it helps out the video. And thank you for all the guys who always try to come in and remind people to do that. I appreciate you. George on Donor Box. Thank you, George. He says, can you speak towards the similarities in design between the Ceridian core and Ballistic Advantage Hanson profile tapered barrel designs? How much of a difference in life or accuracy would you account for compared to a government profile? The Ceridian being chrome lined and the Ballistic Advantage not.
Ballistic Advantage, I cannot comment to due to the fact that I've never used one. I just got my first Criterion barrel maybe 2 months ago, and I've only got about 200 rounds through it. For as far as the accuracy is concerned, with just what I've been doing with it, it's I, I don't see much of a difference between an LMT or a Colt barrel so far, for as far as accuracy is concerned. Other than the fact that it is a Colt hammer. No, that was not Colt hammer forge. I don't believe. No, I don't believe it was, but it was a good chrome line barrel. I like the chrome line barrels. But Ballistic Advantage, I have not had the opportunity to really take a look at. And again, I don't talk to you guys and give you opinions on things that I don't have firsthand knowledge with. But I will tell you the Criterion barrel I've got, I've been very happy with it. There will be a lot more shooting done with it because I built that on a Santan Tactical receiver set, and that's when I put an Odin gas block on it as well. So we're going to see. We'll see more about that in the future.
Adnan on Donor Box. Thank you so much, Adnan. He says, don't have any questions for tonight. Just wanted to send some support.
Thank you so
and
much.
he's also looking forward to pre-ordering the book that you're assisting James Rupley for the New Yorker's Guide.
Well, that
He's
just now.
also
I'm sorry.
he's also looking forward to meeting us for the upcoming NRA show later this year.
Yes, you guys will. We're going to try to arrange like a dinner or something. She's going to be putting that together. The book is in its final stages. We're hoping to have it done probably within the next couple of weeks. Once you get everything done, it's got to go to a lot of people just for a look over and an edit. You guys are absolutely going to freaking love it. The stuff I was able to get into there, the prototype stuff you're going to see like from LMT and some other companies. In fact, you're going to be learning a lot about LMT because many of you guys don't know that they were involved with the SCAR program, the SAS program, the IC, all that. You're going to see all the stuff that they're putting in there. We got a good history of the external piston series.
And now we just need to push Chris and get him geared towards writing Black Rifle 3 and stop procrastinating and get it done. So, yeah, I'm going to start blasting out your email and say, just email him and tell him you want Black Rifle 3 because I want him to do that. Andy wants to know, I struck the threads on my lower while screwing in my grip. Gunsmith won't touch it. Suggestions, anyone?
You can get the actual tap for that. Any gunsmith should be able to do that for you. Just trying to find a different gunsmith. I mean, hell, it's just a matter of retapping it. If it's stripped out and you can't retap it, you can go with a larger screw. So again, you would drill and you would tap that for the larger screw, and then just get a larger screw for the pistol grip. You're not going to it's not going to be destroyed because of that. But any machinist would be able to do that for you. It doesn't have to be a gunsmith. It can be anybody as a machinist who can drill and tap. That's not a big deal. I don't know why that you just must have a gunsmith who's afraid to do any work like that. You have to understand that there's gunsmiths out there. Some are gunsmiths, some are armors. The difference is an armor replaces parts. A gunsmith makes parts and modifies parts. So you have to. It depends on who you're going to, whether they do that or not. I used to do more of the gunsmithing. I don't have the machine shop anymore availability, so I don't have the tools to do that anymore. But I used to do things like that, drilling, tapping and things like that. But you just need to find any machinist that you can find that will do that.
Triumph wants to know, I'm hoping for a video from Dragon Man's in Colorado Springs and a review of his line of AR platform, weapons, and museum.
Don't know about that. I don't think I've ever heard of that.
Looking to get a piston AR, zeroing in on the PWS Mark 116 Mod 2. What are your thoughts?
I absolutely love it. In fact, that one I just put the flash suppressor on for the OSS. So you're going to be seeing that one come back out with the OSS. Now, for as far as pistons are concerned, I would also look at the Caracal. Caracal is going to be coming. Those are available now again. All you got to do is call Caracal and say, "Hey, I want an 816A2," and they'll tell you how to get one. But the PWS Mark 116 is an awesome gun. It's funny, you look at the two of them. You know, they're different concepts. One's long stroke, one's short stroke. They're both very very well made. Um, you do get some extra features on the primary weapon systems because the AMI features on it, where the Caracal is still more of a mil spec type. But those are both excellent options. I do have, I think, two videos on the primary weapon systems that you can look up so you can see what I think of them. And it's an excellent rifle, but you'll see a video coming up in the not too distant future with the OSS on it.
This gentleman wants to know why you would need a Black Rifle 3 because doesn't Black Rifle 2 cover everything already? It only covers it up to a certain period.
2004.
So just like Black Rifle 1, it stopped at a certain point and then he picked it up. And so then it stopped. He finished it right after our first daughter was born. And so then it would pick up for the next 20 years. So it's a continuing story that I'm hoping he continues. Let's see. Michael, thank you. I didn't see a question. I'll keep looking in the chat to see if you had one though. Wait, is that his? No. George on Donor Box. Thank you, George. Did you get the headspace bolt with your Cridian barrel? Would you consider that really necessary to mate a bolt to a barrel, or could that be considered excessive?
That could be considered excessive. Very, very rarely, in the years I've been doing this, have I come up with something that didn't have space properly, especially this quality. I will admit to you that I check out headspace every time I do it, just because I happen to have the gauges here. It's just part of my routine when I swap out barrels or assemble something. But it's not something that you often have to do.
Jason wants to know, he's just wondering, I hope you have a life away from firearms. What is your other hobby or hobbies you enjoy?
I don't
I
smoke cigars.
I'm here to confirm he has no other hobbies except smoking cigars.
Yeah, and I like my hookah.
He likes his hookah.
And occasionally pipe. I actually just got done smoking. It was my dad's pipe, actually.
Yeah. He doesn't have any other hobbies.
No, this is all I do, all I've ever done. It's all I enjoy doing.
So basically, any activities or entertainment is because I put them together.
I do like to travel too. I do love traveling.
Do suppressors need to be retested for new rounds, like the 8.6 blackout?
8.6 blackout. You do have to make sure you have a suppressor that will handle that. Your 30 calibers, for instance, will go up to up to 7.62 by 39. For instance, my 36M that I have here will go up to 338 caliber. You really have to make sure that you have what round you're shooting, and to be sure that your suppressor will handle that. If not, know what to get that will. I'm on the list here, so whenever that round does come out, Faxon is going to send me some of that over, and I'm going to have to try to find a suppressor that will work with that.
Have you tried Schmeizer quad stack mags, and if so, how are they compared to Surefire?
I have a video on it, and I have a video on the Surefires as well. Oh, the Surefire video was one of the ones that was taken down. We were able to capture that one. I have used both, and I have to say I have had good luck with the Surefires. I have like 3 or 4 of the 60 rounders here, and I've used them full auto. I've used them everything, and no problem. And I just recently, did a video. Well, not recently, but maybe a year ago or so. Did a video when ATI first started bringing those into the country. The only problem I had with it was in some guns, the bolt catch on it, because the original ones had a tab on the back that the follower pushed up on the tab. They corrected that and they went with a standard type follower. That problem went away. I've had good luck with both of them, and again, I've shot excessively with full auto with both of them. Obviously, the Surefire is going to be a hell of a lot more expensive, but you know, I I was very happy with the quality that the German one had.
What do you think of the Foxtrot mic uppers comparable to BRN 180 since they're the OEM?
Well, speaking of that, I have one of those right behind me as well. You will be seeing a video on that. I did about a 1,700 round test on the Foxtrot mic FM 15. excellent rifle. I've been very pleased with it. One of the differences is the Foxtrot, Michael. When you want to shoot suppressed, you have a different set of recoil springs that you put in it. Where with the BRN 180, you have a valve on the newer ones where you just can switch over suppressed and unsuppressed. For as far as machining and everything, I would say they're both certainly equal as far as that's concerned. Um, the work that FM Products does on those is excessive. When you look at that rifle, there's a lot that goes into that you don't see. A lot of enhancements and improvements over a standard AR-15. He's done a lot of work on that, which you're going to see in the video when I do it. Hopefully, the next couple 3 weeks. Um, which one I like better? Again, they're very similar guns due to the fact you can fold the stock. Um, well, cost wise, the FM-15 is much better. It's a far less expensive. It comes with a full lower receiver as well, side folding stock. I'd probably say I would probably push more towards the FM-15 if you really wanted to have the ability to have a side folding stock and still be able to shoot.
Is the lethality of the M855A1 consistent?
It's considered to be a much more consistent than the M855A1, yes. Than the M855, yes. The way that the cartridges, the higher velocities. Um, on paper, everything is better with the M855A1 except it destroys the guns.
Do you prefer a piston or a DI system?
I prefer internal piston myself, yes. Uh, I really have not had a lot of need or a properly made internal piston gun, military grade. I don't see it's just two ways of doing the same thing of knocking the bolt back.
Dave on DonorBox. Thank you, Dave. He said, will you consider also posting on Rumble or on Truth Social? Also, why has the slide action been the preferred choice for military pistol designs for over a century? There are other alternative actions like the Ruger, and even the Laugo Alien. I think that's how you pronounce it. As far as posting, I'll let him answer the that question, obviously. But as far as posting on, that's my more of my area.
Mhm.
I haven't looked at posting on any other, platforms as of yet. But you know, I'm never, closed off to any possibilities.
Because the ones that you mentioned are not what you would call durable designs. We have yet to see any non-quote slide type designs that are as durable uh, as the slide. If you look at the Luger, the toggle systems, those had a lot of reliability issues over the years. Um, there's a lot of ways to do things, but what's more efficient and what's more reliable? And I have yet to see. I mean, you're probably looking at a lot just to go with a rotating barrel for as far as a change versus the Browning type uh, locking systems. But no, the if you notice that nobody ever copied the Luger. There are no other companies that have done it. It's just like the other one. You look at everything that's military grade out there, you're going to see a slide action.
If a barrel fails the no-go gauge, sorry, it rolled up. If the barrel fails no-go gauge, is there another option other than sending the barrel back?
No, I'll send it back. You don't want to mess around with it.
Do you think Surefire will ever release 100 rounders again ever?
Well, I have one. It worked. It was totally impractical. It hung down so low that you could never go prone with it. It was just totally impractical. It was a novelty. The 60 round magazine that could be perfectly used with your as your primary magazine with 60 rounds. It worked great. You could go prone. It wasn't much longer than a standard 30 round. It worked perfect. It's practical. The 100 round, like I said, I don't think they sold a lot of them just because of the fact that you're not going to use it in the real world. It's too damn long. It's too long. It's too loud because you hear the rounds that are shaking in it. Um, I don't think there was enough demand for them to probably make it. Quite frankly, they sent those to me as samples many, many years ago. I have, and I will buy their 60 rounders. I would never spend the money on a 100 round. It just doesn't. It's just not practical.
They want to know what your favorite cigar wrapper, Candela, Maduro, or regular.
Maduro.
He likes the expensive cigars, is what he likes. when we didn't get to go to Italy for our 20th anniversary, we ended up going to Cabo because Mexico is the only place that said, "You Americans, you can come here." So we went to Cabo for our 20th for just 3 days, and he found a cigar shop there that had Cubans, and he went in the humidor, and he was in there for like forever. And I was just sitting there, and like
Sensory overload.
20 minutes later, I went in and I was like, are you okay? Like, do they not have what you need? He was like, no, they have everything I need. I'm just overwhelmed with choices and I want them all. So he doesn't get that excited, about much. So it's either guns or cigars. On your most recent Centurion build, you chose the C4 rail. Is there a reason you chose that over the CMR rail? Is one more rugged than the other?
Probably, I don't think one's more rugged than the other. I think it just looks cooler. I've using a standard barrel nut on there. I can't say, I've had the other ones. You know what? There probably isn't really a good reason. Just I like them. I've used the C4s for so long. Oh, I know. I remember why. Because the one that I wanted, he didn't have the length in at the time. That's why. Because I think I did request it at first, but the length handguard. Because the way I did that build, I had the folding front sight base from arms, and you had to have a specific length. I believe it was 9 inch, and he did not have one of those in the CMR at the time. So I think that was the reason.
Yes, Tad, that is actually one of his favorite brands, Romeo and Juliet
Yeah,
cigars.
it is.
Apparently, Winston Churchill liked those. Is that why they call it the Churchill
No,
length?
no, Churchill is just the length. It's
I
you have
thought
all different
maybe
torpedoes.
I
You
thought
have
maybe I was missing
oh no,
something. Maybe that was his favorite length. They named it after him or something.
nope.
Let's see. So I have a few hundred rounds of Mark 316. Would you use them as your main battle cartridge or as a special round for quote special situations? I normally run Norma SS 109.
Um, for me, anyways, the primary round that I would use would be my Mark 262 as anti personnel. If I needed something that was barrier, that would be an excellent choice, along with even the M855A1. Um, Most of the time, when you're using a rifle, you're engaging human targets. You're not going through material to get to them. Generally, if you have to go through a barrier, that's what your 7.62 melt-fed machine guns are for cutting down clay walls or whatever, for pounding through that. A rifle generally is anti-personnel, and that's generally what you're going to be shooting at it. The Mark 262, I think, is a better round than all of those terminally. But the barrier round there are benefits to it when you do have to go through barriers. Um, it's not as common, but everything has its place. It just happens to be what you think your threat's going to be.
Any experience with the Glock 42 and its reliability long term?
I have had the G42 is 380. I did. I'm sorry, my brain's not working. I'm
He
still on.
hasn't he hasn't done this in a while, so
No, 380 almost possible. But I just want to make sure. Let's see.
sorry if you hear our children in the back. It's what it's like living with four children.
Yeah, 380. Sorry, I just couldn't remember the name. I had one and I carried one for several years. I just replaced it with P365. Um, First off, I would be going with the 9 millimeter over that anyways. It's not much bigger, and you're carrying a full full powered 9 millimeter round. And I will say, I did have some issues on occasion with hollow points with it, the way that the thing did feed, and I did not shoot well with it. When I compared that to the Sig P365, because I was testing, you'll see videos out where I did my new carry and concealed weapon. I came down to the Sig P365 and the Springfield Hellcat. And both of those pistols I shot significantly better with than I did that Glock. For some reason, those were I couldn't get really good grips with or groups with it, even at the close range, and it was extremely small in my hands. And I was able to get a Sig P365 in a pocket holster, and it worked out much better for me. For as far as its longevity, I can't see any problems with its longevity. It's just one of those things that it's neat, but there's much better options out there. If you want a Glock, I would go with the 9mm version instead of the 380, or take a look at something like a Sig P365 where you're carrying 10 rounds instead of I think that was 7 rounds in that gun. And again, 380 automatic is probably the minimum you'd want to go as a self defense cartridge. So I carried it because it was cool. It was a Glock. And when I moved here to Texas, it was hot, and I couldn't carry a holster a lot, and I would think it would slide in my pocket. But just after a while, I did some reviews on some of these other guns and found out that there were some much better guns that were about the same size, uh, and that's why I got rid of it.
Bought both Black Rifle 1 and 2 for $300 total off of eBay a few weeks ago. Perfect condition. Guess the guy didn't know uh, what he had, and he can't wait to read it. Well, that is
Awesome.
definitely an awesome deal because I know
Yeah.
Black Rifle 1 has been going for very high, and Black Rifle 2 has been going for pretty high. And I'm really hoping in the next week that I will be able to put out a video with an updated status on Black Rifle 2 and where we're at, and the process that we have been going through, because it's literally been an entire year process that we have been going through regarding Black Rifle 2 and where it stands. So um, that's really exciting, and I'm excited to share it with you. And I look forward to that video more than anything. So, because it's been a lot of work in the making. Looking at putting a 5.5 by 50 ACOG on an Arrow M5 build, 18-inch 308. Would you go fixed power or LVPO on this setup?
I'd probably go with the LPVO. Um, I like having the options, especially when you something up close.
Sean agrees with you.
Does he?
Yeah, he says LPVO all day long.
Yeah, the fixed powers, when you have to do close quarter with it, it becomes a problem. You have to have, a red dot or something. When you go with the variable optics, you can take it down to a 1 power and put your light on in there, and you can use it as a red dot. It just makes it much more versatile.
Do you think Radical Firearms has finally become something worth buying, especially since it's all made in house now?
Interesting that you mentioned that. It took me 6 months or whatever to get the radical suppressor. Which, in fact, if you look right behind me, since I can't show you, you'll see that I have the PSA KS47. That's the new 3D printed. That one there. That's the new 3D printed radical suppressor. I contacted my gentleman there, and told Mel that I'd like you to send me over a few or a couple rifles to do the testing. We can do new radical guns with the suppressor. So he's going to be sending me a couple. I requested a 7.62 by 39 and a 5.56. So I think I want to hold off on giving you any answers to that till we get the new guns in. I will say I did a quick review on one a while back when we did the ARs on a budget. That particular rifle I had no problems with. It shot well. It was reliable. I know I've heard things like you do. I'm only going to report to you on the guns that I have and the ones that I test. However, since I got that suppressor now from Radical, I wanted to get some Radical guns to test it on. So there will be some videos coming up on that where we're looking at both the can and the new guns.
Yeah, we have a lot of good stuff coming up for you guys.
Oh yeah, I'm actually pretty backlogged right now on
Well,
stuff.
he's been gone, and we did so much before he left, and yeah, we're busting at the seams here. So we have lots of good stuff that's going to be coming your way, guys. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I still have to feed this guy, so I got to go get a Whataburger run and feed him, and head to Fort Worth tomorrow for a daughter's cheer comp. But thank you guys so much for joining us. We will be back next week in our regular time. And yeah, for the ones who said that they didn't know that we were going to have it, you can sign up on Small Arms Solutions for the newsletter, and I send out an email. Aaron says Patty Melt.
I got one question I want to answer before we leave.
Okay, go for it.
He's asking about Carl Lewis interview. I will be redoing and rescheduling all these interviews for NRA. That will include Carl Lewis, hopefully Mark Westrom, hopefully Monty LeClaire, and we may be able to get a few other ones too.
What does he get from Whataburger? He gets a double. He gets a double with cheese and bacon and lots of jalapenos and.
And then I like they have the barbecue chicken, ranch barbecue chicken, but I get rid of the ranch and just have the barbecue sauce on there. Good things.
Or he likes it with buffalo sauce because he is a New Yorker.
Yeah, she had to get that.
Okay, guys, thank you so much.
Thank you. Good night.
Wait, let me kick this guy out real quick first.
Which guy?
Yeah, you don't want to know.
Yeah, I do.